Refurbishing an entire interior can be a big job, but if you divide it into sections and tackle each section like it's its own individual project, you can see a lot of changes happening fast. Besides, you can find all kinds of cool stuff under carpet and behind the seats, in the glove box, kind of like archaeology. Upholstery and interior restoration is one of those areas that can get really specialized and really expensive. But I'm going to show you some ways to make your interior look like $1,000,000, and I'm going to show you how to do it for as little money as possible. We're going to start with the bench seat in our truck, and there's a lot of ways you can go with seating and interiors. We kind of have a blank space here, and you can go full custom, use aftermarket kits, late model transplanted seats, but on top of being expensive sometimes, those routes can lock you into a lot of fabrication and even some welding that you might not have been prepared for. For us, and probably for a lot of you, there's nothing wrong with the original seat. It's the right height, and it was pretty comfortable when it was new, and it looks right in the truck. So we're just going to take what's here and restore it and give it a little bit of a lift in the process. So here's the plan of attack. We're going to disassemble the seat into two pieces, kind of breaks it up into two projects, which is easier, and we're going to show you how to fix this and that. Breaking the seat down is simple, but pay attention to any locking mechanism that might be there. Make notes. Take pictures if you need to. The seat frame is metal and also the wrong color. We'll address that in a bit, but it needs to be removed to properly repair the seat. These wires connect the seat sliders together and are connected to the frame. Keep track of where they go for reassembly or you won't be able to adjust your seat. Seat covers are attached in many different ways. This one has clips that pop into the metal frame, and older trucks have hog rings holding them in. The fabric is rotten, no need to be careful removing anything here, but try not to damage the seat foam with any tools or blades. Money! So there's another 54 cents combined with the 27 cents that we already found in the interior of the truck under the carpet. We've almost got enough for a cup of coffee. So where does that leave us? We have damaged seat foam, but the rest of it looks pretty darn good. And we have the type of seat that has the integrated foam and the metal frame. So we can't just take the seat bun off and replace it with a new one. To replace this, well, you've got to cut it off and then order from the LMCTruck catalog, designate the type that goes on top of the metal frame or to replace this. There's two different styles. When you read your catalog, you'll know this. But what we're going to show you, since 90% of it's good, other than these ugly divots, we're going to show you how to repair this. And it's fun. Different types of foam are measured by the amount of pressure it takes to squish it. The technical term is durometer, but I like squish better. So you want to match up your foam. The easy way to do that is I'm just going to squish the existing foam here, and I try these different pieces. It takes more pressure to squeeze this than it does this. That guy's out. This one, it's really stiff. It's stiffer than that. That guy's out. These feel very close. So now that we matched up our foam, the rest is just a repair, and it's not dissimilar to repairing wood or even automotive body work. And it's really kind of fun, but it all starts, like any repair, with surface prep. We've matched up our foam, we know what we need to repair, and now we're ready to go. But first, I need to know what shape it is I'm going to recreate, so I need to make a template. I'm going to do that with a piece of a coat hanger, and I'm going to bend it to the contour that I need to recreate. That way I've got a guide to follow and to get my basic shape before I start sculpting. You can't just glue foam onto this. This is kind of rotten. It's oxidized and it's really dirty. Plus, if you glued new foam onto these lumps, they would transfer through. You'd feel them when you were sitting down. So we need to create a smooth surface here to layer up our foam and then finally sculpt it down. So the way we're going to do that is with just this $15 kitchen knife. It's an electric knife. It'll do the job, but you need to get used to how it feels while you're cutting foam. Obviously, be careful. You can feel it as it's cutting, and you can see when you push too fast, the foam distorts, and you don't get a straight cut. So you just have to, as the cool kids say, let it eat. Just do a couple practice cuts until you get used to it. And anytime you're using something that's sharp, not a bad idea to protect your hands. So, we're just going to start carving and create a smooth divot. Do a couple of test cuts on some scrap foam just to get used to what kind of pressure it takes to cut. Using gentle pressure, I'm scooping out the foam, making a smooth, flat place to add new foam. Now it's time to start gluing. Obviously, there's spray adhesive options, and they're fine, but what I've learned is that this upholstery glue, that can either be sprayed or brushed on, is more of a permanent bond. It's a true contact cement, and you can get it at home centers or on some internet sites. We're going to apply it with a brush. That way we don't have a big air compressor here. We don't need one. You don't need one either. Now we can start gluing layers in and building it up. Anytime you're using adhesives with a strong odor, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. We've got glue down the first layer of foam and the whole entire bottom. It's okay, it's a contact cement, so if it dries, it's fine. As a matter of fact, you don't want to put it together while it's still wet. You want it to tack off. So I'm listening for a tacky sound. Hear that? Wait till it doesn't do that. Wait till you can just touch it, and it's a little bit cool to touch. You want to squish it down real good and make sure that you've got a good bond between the two pieces with the glue on them. After you've finished applying the adhesive, let it sit at least 5, possibly 10 minutes to dry thoroughly before you touch it. If it's cold in your shop, a hairdryer or a heat gun helps flash off the glue so you can move a little faster. Okay, I've got my outline here. I've got the rest of the seat that I can go by. I've got my wire that's bent to a template. An angle grinder with a 36 grit disc, an air hose and a small compressor, and a safety mask. Now we can start sculpting. The grinder only needs light pressure, but you'll get the feel of it pretty fast. Do a little at a time and check your progress with the template. I'm pretty happy with the shape so far. The next step is to put the grinder down and hand sand it. We're using 36 grit paper on a rounded block, and this way we can refine the transitions from the original foam to our replaced foam and just kind of sneak up on the style without going too far with the grinder. If you've ever done body work on plastic filler, this is the same. The abrasive paper shapes the foam up pretty fast. This feels like it should. This is nice and flat, still feels good. This transition here is straight and it's flat, and the bolster on here matches the other side, and it feels natural. Everything flows, and my template tells me we're ready for the next step. Here's our new lower seat cover. It looks great, but it's slightly different from the original one, and it takes a little bit different attachment. The thing to remember when you're doing a seat cover like this is start in the middle. You don't want to start at one end and then have to stretch the other end. You could pull stitching and things like that. So start in the middle, work your way evenly. On some covers that are really tight, turning it inside out helps to work the corners in one at a time. But this one fits great, and we don't have to do that. This cover needs to be attached with hog rings, so we have to expose the seat springs that are buried in the foam. The electric knife makes this easy. This looks really good. It's a great looking cover, and right here, no wrinkles, no caving in, and you can't feel anything through the upholstery. This right here, like I said before, vinyl shrinks. It doesn't stretch. All of this will pull tight eventually, or you can run an upholstery steamer over it, or the quick and easy method is just to set it outside in the sun, and all these wrinkles will disappear. They're just from the packaging. So now, Now we're ready for next. These are hog rings. They're big staples. These are hog ring pliers. There's a staple in the jaw. The way this works is there's a listing wire or a listing strip right in here. It's basically a plastic cord, and we've got the exposed spring here. So it's very simple. Anybody can do this. You just take your hog ring and your pliers and you loop it around that wire. See how it pulls tension nice? One thing to remember is start from the middle and work your way out. From the middle, out. Easy peasy. Here's how to load it. Just like that. Take this guy, again, the middle, right across. And away, hog ring. Cool. I'm just going to attach it enough to hold the cover in place and move on to the upper seat back. The seat back cover comes off easy. It's zippered in place and the new one attaches the same way. We'll take a look at the foam just to make sure it's in good shape. The upholstery kit comes with some hog rings and fasteners, as well as an instruction sheet with some great tips on installing upholstery if you've never done it before. It always helps to read the instructions. We cleaned and then scuffed the red metal seat pedestal, then painted it with 3 coats of Color Bond Underhood black paint, which gives it a nice original looking satin sheen. Masking off the sliders keeps the paint from gumming up any rollers. On our truck, the inner seatbelt receivers come up through the seat itself, but that's not always the case, so we need to cut holes in our lower cover. I marked the center of the opening from the back side of the foam, and then marked it on the outside. Using the plastic escutcheons, I'll draw and cut a smaller opening, then push the escutcheons in, and then lock them on the back side with the factory retainers. With the belt openings finished, we can install the rest of the hog rings and pull a little bit of tension into the cover as we do. So, with the help of a company like LMCTruck, reupholstering a seat, it's simple enough for anybody to do. And now, you know how to do a foam repair if you need to. My point is this: don't get lost in this big, long group of stuff to do. Don't get intimidated. Stick to your outline, narrow it down, and then work on one link, and then the next one. And then the next one. And then the next one. You get my point.